Subsequently, there will be time where Herr Winhoff is going to situate his particular school in the larger context of disability inclusion in Germany. As you know from the last time, we often talk about this continuum from access, physical access, all the way to full inclusion. And similar to the United States, Germany offers a variety of options from full inclusion to more separate institutions, such as the school where Mr. Winhoff works as a special ed teacher. You should also know that Germany, similar to the United States, trains general education teachers and special education teachers sort of as different types. There are common courses and then specializations that are specific to a special education teacher. And you will have a chance to also ask questions that are of interest to you directly of Mr. Winhoff. So there will be a little bit of a Q&A. And then in terms of the project, it's called the Compare and Contrast Project. It's just a few slides where we simply ask you in a group, which will be a mixed group between US and Moroccan students, to discuss similarities and differences. And as you know, this is not about stacking up who can offer more or less. Different countries are at different stages of disability inclusion. And so we're not racing to the top. We're simply trying to understand differences in services. And everybody can kind of share their own experience on that note. So if I remember correctly, Herr Winhoff, you have a kind of a video, right, that you kind of narrate as well.
Yeah. That video is shadowing our work at school, the lessons that we do, and further on, we have some more offers at our school. Yes, it will take some minutes to watch.
Great. Okay. And just for everybody to understand, you are a special education teacher, and you've been at this school for many years now. Can you give us a little background?
It's a special education center and counseling center, and I now work there for 20 years in Germany.
Great. Well, that's a lot of teaching experience. Okay.
Hopefully some experience I've made, yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop sharing, and
Okay.
if you want to put your video on the screen and make sure
Yeah.
it's being shared,
I will go to my screen, yes. So can you see that?
Yep, I can. I
Okay.
believe everybody else
Okay,
can.
okay. So let's go. Welcome to my presentation. My name is Holger Winhoff. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Now it's working. I'm a special education teacher in Germany, and we are at a school for special education for children with the focus on physical and motor development. I'm the guy on the left-hand side, and here you see my class. And on the right side, there's my colleague. We have students with physical disabilities, but our range of handicaps is quite more. We have such as many students have ADHD, or we also deal with autism at our school, so it's quite a wide range. As a first impression, we will right now watch the video. It's 8 minutes, and I hope you all will see some impressions of our work that we do. I forgot, sorry to say hello to everybody at the United States, and good evening to Morocco, and hopefully now enjoy this video. It's a bit slowly. Just a moment. Okay. Ah, no. Oh, no way. Sorry. Ah, I have to go back. Or start again. Sorry, it's working a little bit slowly at my computer. So I have to start again. Can you hear and see me?
Yes.
Sorry, my computer is working a bit slowly and so I will restart and then hopefully we can go to the movie. Oh, sorry for that. So here we will continue. Sorry.
Here we are doing a picture story, father and son. Writing English vocabulary with the iPad.
We make fire like Stone Age people. With a little help it works.
Here we are doing a jump contest.
Archery is way super exciting for us.
We work the role here for a circus presentation.
We created our own pirate show.
Now it's time to say goodbye.
Okay, as you have seen, it's not just to focus on our lessons, but we have also a big focus on the movement education. All the things you have seen on the second part of the video are our focus on movement education. Okay. Next will be, I will start with some facts about our school, the organization and structure of the KBZO school. We are called a special education and counseling center, and we're in the state of Baden-Württemberg, that's in the south of Germany, and we provide their special educational offers at our school and support other schools with special educational counseling and direct support. That is also our role in inclusion we have right now. We are quite big organization. We have several preschools. In our region, we have 4 elementary schools in different counties, a secondary school. The video is taking place on the secondary school where I work. And also we have our own vocational school for students who leave school or have graduated. We have also, or as BB said, normally has a counseling center for early learning to support the children and the parents when you see beginning problems in the development of a child and then later on a student in his physical development. It's our role to support the situation and assist the parents in what they can do for their child. And this starts nearly at the age of 0 and goes to the age of 6 before they come to school. There's also a special education service of teachers who advise and support students with handicaps and their teachers at a regular school, our inclusion job we do. And at this point of the presentation, it's important for me to say that the parents, mostly of our children with handicaps or disabilities, they choose, as Bibi said, to be the specific school for their children. So it's in their hands to make this decision. The next step will be to say something about our pedagogical principles in our work. And for this, I've taken, we have our own educational plan just for this Center for Motor and Physical Development. And that is very unique. Normally, there are educational plans for elementary schools or secondary schools, or for some school qualifications like Realschule, is it called in German. But we as a specific school, we have our own educational plan. It's from 2015, and the topics are taken off from this plan. Our educational aims and learning objectives are based on the individual needs of every student. You might have seen this on the video. We create very individual settings. This is like a mantra for us. It's a very individual pedagogy, and this focus on every child is very important for us. We want to achieve a highest possible level of activity due to the disabilities they have. If we can help them to improve, and later on a participation in society. We want to achieve this, and we want to secure the entitlement to special education, whether it is at our school or it is at an inclusion school. It's regardless to the place of learning. And because of all the different and the wide range of disabilities, physicality and movement are of fundamental importance for the individual development of the students. So it's like we are on an educational mission. It's also taken from this plan. For us, movement education, you have seen this is a continuous principle in teaching and everyday school life, where our students acquire body and movement counseling competences. It's a big focus of our job. Then our school ensures the fit between the requirements of the respective subject, the individual learning requirements, and the individual educational aspirations. So it's like that we look, where does the student come from and where can we help him where to go in creating these individual learning settings. And practically this means we have every student gets an IEP from us, this individual education and development plan. In German, it is called ELAB. All teachers and therapists in a class, they work on this IEP. We meet 2 times a school year and fix all the learning aims and how we can create learning settings to achieve these aims. It's a very important part of our job to write on this plan over not just 1 school year. It's for several years we write on this plan. So our educational contents contribute to more activity, social participation, and a life that is independent and hopefully later on self-determined as possible. For us, or for the school, the aim is to create an appropriate environment. I know from the perspective of inclusion, you at FEFI, you have a big focus on inclusion. It's surely not the least restrictive one, but from our perspective, it's the most appropriate one we can create, we think, or we do. Okay, next one. I have some more facts about KBZO because it's a quite big school. We have, as I said, different school locations in several cities and towns in the south of Baden-Württemberg, a federal state of Germany. In the city of Weingarten, where the school is, it's more than 20,000 inhabitants. There are over 400 students with disabilities educated in several school departments. In this presentation, the focus is on the Department of Middle School Students. It's a part of the secondary school, and we do have at the moment 190 students. And we are the Roland Schlachterhaus, our department. And we are over 90 employees working there. It's all the teachers. We have several therapists for the physical education and the movement education, the occupational therapy. There are lots of educational assistants and some more professionals working there. Now, what we practically do? What are the principles of our lessons? You have seen some impressions already, and what we do there. The students we have in my class, there are 8 students. They are in a permanent team of teachers and therapists. Normally, we work over 5 years together from class 5 to class 9. We have an intensive contact and cooperation with parents. At the moment, as I thought about this presentation, the last days, it's quite, or it's, I think, the most difficult part of my job to have these contact and cooperation with parents because it isn't often easy. The families and parents, they often have family problems, or there are some social problems, or these problems reach into school, and we all have to deal with these problems, and it's not quite an easy job at the moment to solve or find a solution to all these problems with the parents. We have a homogeneous learning setting in the classes. We have quite a wide range. There's one boy in a wheelchair, and some we have behavioral problems or ADHD in the class, but they all work in the same educational plan. So it's quite homogeneous. But in this, there is a strong differentiation in what we do. You have seen every student has his own iPad, and there we have some possibilities to make a differentiation. For example, in learning the German language, we have several apps they use, or in the settings we create, you have seen the project theme we worked on. That's the same as said, the individual forms of learning, especially the project theme. It was last school year, the Stone Age project we work on. We want to work practically or do some experiments with them, not just being in the classroom. And of course, we have to focus on self-activity and self-reliance because of all the physical disabilities many students have. They have a lack of self-activity, and it's very important for them to improve in this way for themselves. Okay, some words to movement education. You have seen we have at near the school there's house of movement for this movement education, and it's not just a gym for physical education or sports as it looks like. We do some more there, like psychomotricity. That's a form of a movement education where students learn to express themselves through a movement, or we create some social learning settings throughout movement. There are lots of students who go to this psychomotricity. You have seen the trampoline room for the movement education, but there's also a classic fitness room where students can do something for their fitness, like spinning, running. That's very popular too for them. A brief look on our timetable. We are an all-day reliable school. That means we have 4 long afternoons. There's just 1 short day on Wednesday. The blue fields are for the lessons and for the different lessons. On Thursday afternoon, the classes are split up, and the students, they go to projects that the teachers have decided for them, some creative activities or also movement activities. On Friday afternoon, the students can decide what they want to do in working groups, and many want to do some sports activities there. And I think it's a good balance between lessons and some other activities. So the next, it's about what we have on additional offers at our school. That's quite a lot. I will go through these offers. There's an occupational therapy for students who need to improve their fine motor skills, or they need help in structuring their mind in what they do next step by step. For example, many students with ADHD, they go to this occupational therapy. There is a possibility for a speech therapy for students with a speech disorder, and they just need a recipe from their doctor to get the speech therapy in-house at our school. We have a team of school psychologists. In my class, we had already to deal with some problems with depressions with 2 students, and we're very glad to have a psychologist to get some help and support for these students. Also proud to have school social workers with us, because there are every week, we have lots of behavior problems, and that we get some help and find solutions and solve problems. They support our job. At the moment, I have a student who decided to start smoking under the age of 18, of course, and that's quite a big problem right now. And I had some big support from this school social work. There's a nursing service for students who need help in going to the toilet because they wear diapers and need some changes over the school day, or even if they have a catheter, and that are things we cannot manage. So we're having this nursing service. There are a lot of or some more supports. We have a social skills training for students with autism, for example, so they can improve their communication skills or interacting with other students and adults if they have problems in this way. We have concentration training for ADHD. There's a dyslexia training possible for students who have problems in learning reading and writing. There are special break offers for students with autism, ASS. If they cannot bear it to be with other students in the break, or there are too much people, they can go to their own room and have a retreat during the break. We have some teachers. They are specialists in assistive communication, because there are some students, they have a severe disability, and because of this disability, they are non-speaking, and they need some electronic devices like a talker or a voice computer, and they get to know and how to use these computers so that they can communicate with some others. Some more additional offers, I will go through this. There's some musical support at our school, a choir and a school rock band. They have once a year a concert. It's a big cultural event. There are support activities like climbing in the local climbing hall. As a working group, you have seen the archery. There will be a winter sports camp in the Alps. They are near to the school quite. And you have also seen the circus project, where the students can show their abilities once a school year in an event. For the elder students from class 8-1, we have a student company where they learn to maintain and repair bikes that I brought to our school from customs from outside, and they are repaired there. So it's quite a good experience to get into this company before they leave our school and get into a vocational qualification. They just to brief you, we have extracurricular events. A school hostel. I want to go with my class this school year to a school hostel in Austria. There is a graduation trip before leaving school. Mostly the students, they want to Berlin, to our capital, for this trip. We have some partner schools in England and Italy. We have to work on that. We meet for exchanges then. We're very happy to have these partner schools. And as you see on the photos, there's a possibility to go on canoeing or on surfing, if possible. I mentioned it. It's very important to think about the school leaving qualifications and the possible graduation. There are some possibilities. My class, they are in the special education school, is the educational plan. They don't graduate, they leave school without graduation, but there are some secondary school qualifications we have. It's called Hauptschule, Werkrealschule, or Realschule. An important principle for us is that there has to be no school leaving certificate or graduation without a vocational qualification. So every student will get an access after leaving our school. So no one is left behind. For that, we need a strong cooperation with the employment agency. There's just a person from the employment agency who just works and supports our students from KBZO to find an access after school to the next step. Okay, so after all, why do parents choose KBZO as their specific school for their children? Because of all the special offers and supports. I think I can dare to say because of the team of educational and therapeutic professionals we have. Because of the school setting, we have small classes. It's between 7 or 10, 11 students in one class. And because the focus on this individual settings we create, and of course, because of all the material resources. So there's maybe a question, or in this setting, we are an expensive school because of all the employees that are working there and all the material resources we have. But it's not expensive for the parents because the school is it's paid from the state of Baden-Württemberg. And if a student has special needs and he has a place at our school, we have to write and report why it is needed for him. And so the parents, they can decide, but the parents don't have to pay for this school. It's the state who has to pay for the school. But please don't misunderstand that. The parents, they can't choose the school because it's an expensive school. That's also, you have to see this in the right way. Because you have seen it on the timetable, we are a reliable all-day school. And because parents understand that this environment is the most appropriate one for their children. So the next part is, as Mr. Kurtz said, I will give you a brief overview to the history of integration and inclusion in Germany, especially in the state of Baden-Württemberg, why this status at the moment is this way. Okay. There has been a highly specialized system of schools for special education in Germany. We had from the 1960s on about 11 different type of schools, like schools for deaf students, blind students, a school for speech disorders, or a school for sick students when they had to stay at a hospital. So it was highly specialized and still is. Sorry. The first little turning point was when the German Education Council recommended a joint education with children with and without handicaps. That was back in the 1970s, and the first school trial was in West Berlin in 1975. It lasted nearly 20 years before the ministers of education in Germany cleared the way for joint lessons. And then in the 90s, there was a founding of outside classes on regular public schools. That means that there was a class of students with disabilities on a regular school, and they were taught there, but not together with the students without handicaps. Then we go more to the actual discussion. There was, the Disability Rights Convention in 2006, and then the federal state of Germany, they are still, until now, working on the implementation of inclusion, and there are big differences between the different federal states. We have 16 federal states in Germany. Then in 2015, there was a change and implementation of a school law. No more compulsory attendance at a special education school. Before that, the state education agency could set this student had to go to a special education school, and it was changed to the right to special needs education from then on. There are 3 organizational forms right now: inclusion, then we are an SBBZ, and still it's a possibility to have this cooperation between regular school and SBBZ as an outside class. To find a solution and decision, strong cooperation between the state education agency, the head of the schools, and the parents are needed to find a way and the right decision. So what's the status right now in inclusion here? As I said, due to the sovereignty of the federal states, each state in Germany has its own school system, and that has in turn an impact on inclusion. You will see right now, there is a heat map here of Germany, and you see in the north and northeast, we have a high rate of inclusion, the green fields, and in the south and southwest, we have a low rate of inclusion. And Baden-Württemberg is in the very south. We have still 8 different types of school for special education here. And the assessment still of special education needs is whether it comes from the initiative of parents, or before starting at school from the state education agency. And then the procedure goes into the hands of the special education teachers. And our task is to ensure the support, whether at a regular or a school or at a SBBZ. Some statistics for you. As I said, the rate of inclusion is below average compared to the rest of Germany. As you see here, still 60% of the students with disabilities are at an SBBZ, the blue one, and 35% are in inclusion. The 10% means they have different educational plans than the students without handicap, sorry, and 25% are teach with the same educational plan, and just the 4% is cooperation. So 60% are still at an SBBZ. And since 2015, the rate of inclusion has stagnated. Of course, I have to tell you now, why is it so? The number of students with learning disabilities has increased by 16%. And in comparison, the most students are enrolled to class 1 to an SBBZ nationwide. And the number of students with special needs has increased significantly compared to other federal states of Germany. But at the same time, the number of special education schools has remained the same. And I think it will stay this way. And compared to other federal states of Germany, we have a so-called narrow understanding of inclusion. This means that an inclusive school is not understood as a standard school, but it is a school that is supplemented by special educational resources. And in the absence of factual, professional, and personal requirements, the state education agency can even vote against inclusion. And so the existing, I think they are proven structures, they are maintained right now. So the resources at regular schools, they do not meet the requirements for an exclusive expansion. The regular schools are not made for an expansion and inclusion. And the parental choice, because it's very important, does not offer two equivalent alternatives. Not in the staff and not in the material resources that are in regular schools. Okay, so that was about the status of inclusion here in Germany. Last not least, I will end with my personal experience. Just a minute with inclusion over the years. I had two inclusions. The first one started nearly 10 years ago. It was a boy with a severe physical disability. He was non-speaking and he had a wheelchair. And he got a weekly support from me of 4 lessons a week. Subject was math as preparation for exam. He did his exams and in the qualification Hauptschule, but after his graduation, he had to enter the KBZO vocational school because there was no alternative at a regular vocational school. His physical disability was severe and there was no option at a vocational school. And the second one was till 2023. It was also a boy with a physical disability. He had a wheelchair, also a weekly support of 4 lessons. The first 3 years I was assistant in his movement education. And then we had to prepare for his exam. He did his exam. It was Realschule, a bit better. And he managed it to enter a regular vocational school, and now I hope he still strives for a university qualification there and get his high school diploma. Okay, so last not least, this was quite for me an successful inclusion that I could support at a regular school. Okay, so thank you for listening and watching. So, and now I'm hopefully prepared for your question and answers.
So, are the children required to learn English and German?
Sorry, I didn't understand the whole question.
Are the students taught like German and English in the classroom?
Yeah, we have, of course, mostly we teach them German, but we have 2 lessons on Mondays. I teach them in English too, and they are very keen to learn English.
Yes, and if possible, and once again, thank you, Holger, for the presentation. Always love it. If we can put our questions in the chat, that way Vinhoff can kind of sort through, because I bet there are a whole bunch of questions. And then you can just pick the questions
Okay,
from the
I've
chat.
opened the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the last message is thank you for the presentation. Okay, are there some questions before?
Yes, go ahead and type in
Okay,
your
I go back. Okay.
questions in the chat. It might take a second for folks to write their questions and submit them. While we're waiting on questions, I'm gonna use the moment to ask one quick question. When you talked about the education plan that you are following, my assumption is this is referring to the curriculum that is given to you by the state. And if so, does that cover all sorts of subjects? Because it said something about movement. I saw that.
Yeah, the educational plan I showed, it's just for the personal development and, or not just, it's for the personal development, it's for the movement education. And from then on, we have some more educational plans, like for the secondary school qualifications, you have an educational plan for Realschule, or you have a plan for Hauptschule. So we have to deal with 2 educational plans, yes.
Okay, so there's different curricula for different
Yeah.
subjects. Got it. Okay.
We
I
take
think
things from this educational plan for movement, and we take, of course, of things from the learning aims for the subjects and lessons.
great. Okay, I think we got the first few questions in the chat.
Could you go over what resources are in the regular inclusion classes? Yeah, the inclusion I have seen is like there are mostly students without handicaps, and there is a student with handicaps, and when it fits, there is an educational assistant at a regular school who supports him in going through the school day, and the school also needs some devices or resources like an elevator that they need to provide that the student can get from one floor to another. So, but it's not always easy to find a school who has all these resources. Okay, now there are many questions. What do you do for those who are non-speaking? That's why we have this assistive communication. It's quite spectacular and fancy what these guys, these teachers have on devices, and what an iPad is a device too, and there are voice computers. And if a children starts at school and can't speak, these teachers, they have to assist the student to get into speaking with a talker. So most common types of special education needs, we mostly have students with learning disabilities. And on top, if you can say that, and you can say not, can't say on top, but a student with a severe disability or a severe physical disability has always a learning disability. And but most students in Baden-Württemberg are students with learning disabilities. Okay. Maybe Mr. Kurtz, you can sort out better than me.
Sure, I mean, I can also look through, but you're free to pick. I know there's quite a few.
Thank you for. Have you taught a visually impaired student? Once there was a girl I taught, she had, it was like a camera. The camera was right to the board, and then she had like a big display on her table, and then she had her own display. Yeah, but it's not as usual at our school, because there is a school type, a special education school for students with disorders in seeing, also in Baden-Württemberg.
Mhm.
Mr.
So it's
Winhoff,
still, sorry?
would you speak a little bit to how teachers are trained in
Of
your
course,
country,
yeah.
both those who work with children with disabilities and also sort of teachers in your general education system who might be
Okay.
supporting students in inclusive settings?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, of course, there are 3 universities of education in Baden-Württemberg where the students are trained for elementary schools or secondary schools. And if you want to be a special education teacher, you have to do this study as an extra study. So, but all the the study for elementary or secondary schools, there is implemented a part of special education also. But it's an extra study for special education, and it goes 8 to 9 semesters in Germany, and you finish this with a master at the end. And then after the end of the study, you have to go to a preparation service that is observed by the state, and you have to graduate at the end of the service to be and then when you successfully graduate this, you can go to a school.
So does that mean that all special education teachers in Germany have a master's degree?
Maybe not all, but normally if you have 8 semesters, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
right now, yeah.
Wow. Do you have a teacher shortage? Do you have enough special ed teachers in Germany? Or because it seems like a big
We have a
commitment.
shortage in every sector of we have, but we have to deal with that. I think in 10 years there will be a lack of teachers because in Germany we say the boom generation of the 1950s, 60s, they retire the next 10 years, and we have to deal with that problem. And I think we will get bigger classes, we will get less resources. That's will become a severe problem, I think. Not just at special education, but it's for all teachers, for all. But right now it's okay still.
There was one question around eligibility, and I'd like to elaborate on that because on one of your slides you talked about your school providing services to the community to identify children with a particular disability, like 0 to
The
6.
special education service.
Yes. So how would a parent show up at your doorstep? Is that a referral from maybe their physician, their Kinderarzt, right? Who would refer them, or it's the school? Because I don't know what preschool would start that early. So my assumption is, you have a newborn or a child that's only a few years old, and
I
who
have heard
notices something first?
that some parents go with their child who is just 1 year old they go to early learning counseling center, And or as you said, you can go to the child doctor, and there the support starts nearly early. It starts before preschool.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we
So
have these
enough.
visits in the US for your young children, and so it could be that then they refer you out to your services. Okay. All right, maybe
Alex, can I
like
ask
two
a
more
question?
questions? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Can I ask, Alex?
Yeah, go
of
ahead.
course.
Thank you so much for your informative presentation. Fair enough.
You're welcome.
I'd like to know whether the budget that is allocated to inclusive schools stays the same, or like it increases every year, because it seems like you need a lot of money, you know, in order to provide all those resources and to pay for all those teachers and then, you know, specialists. Does the money stay the same? The budget stay the same, or does it increase
That's
every year?
quite difficult questions, because I'm not that much involved in. It's quite a political theme, but it was in the 10 years ago when in Baden-Württemberg there were some regions they focused on inclusion, and that was like there was a lot of things going on, and a lot of schools were supported, and there was a lot of money who was pushed was there to push inclusion. But as I can say, especially in this region, in the last years, the rate is also stagnating of inclusion, as I think, and I don't know if the government wants to push inclusion in that way as it did this 10 years ago. It's a difficult question, but we at KBZO, what we have for impressions or feedbacks from other teachers at the moment, there is not that much inclusion anymore.
Thank you. All right. We have about 30 minutes or less left. As I mentioned before, part of the certificate requirement is that we do a little project together. And the first one we're having today is called a compare and contrast. You should be able to finish it in the remainder of the time. What we're looking for is a simple comparison of observations based on what you've seen in Germany, what you've experienced in your own country, and just list example of either access or inclusion and discuss it with your colleagues and friends in the breakout room. I'm going to share my screen now just so you can see the slide deck. Every breakout room has a specific slide deck. So if you're in breakout room 3, you would be looking at the group 3 presentation. So there's just a quick title page. Make sure you put your name on here. If you have a picture of you available, great, you can put it right on there. But most importantly is your name, because that's part of what we use to keep track of your work. And then just brainstorm. This is, there's no right or wrong answer. We'll list a couple of things you observed here under the bullets. Everybody can contribute. And then students from Morocco can contribute some of the things that they've experienced in their own country, examples of access, examples of inclusion. Same with students from the US. And if you know of any inclusive practices, you can list them here and then subsequently just check off whether, based on your experience, that's something that's present in a given country or something that you've seen in the video.
Welcome back, everyone.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
All right. All right. I know. Some of you did not entirely finish yet, which is okay. Most importantly, you have continued access to the slide deck you just were working on. Just make sure you're always in the right group. If there are a few more pieces you'd like to add, feel free to do so between now and next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we have some time to share out regarding your observations. And we'll be taking about the first half of our next session doing that. Make sure that your name and your picture are added to the second slide. We kind of use that as a way to keep track of your contribution. If you have any trouble finding your presentation between now and next week, just reach out to Ian. Ian will be able to find your name and send you a direct link to your presentation. So that shouldn't be a problem at all. You don't have to add your pictures, not necessary. The most important piece really is your name. That way we can go down our list and check you off for your project contribution. I want to thank Mr. Winhoff once again.
I'm sorry
Yes.
to. Yes, had our names in the slide because I didn't reach that.
On slide number 2, there's a way, there's these bubbles, you can just add your name. And once again, if you have questions about your slide deck, where to find it after our session is over, just email Ian and he'll reply with a link to your slide deck. So there should be no reason.
Miriam, if you just stay on as people are leaving, then we can make sure we get your name in on your group slide. We can help with that.
Perfect. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, and we'll be around for a little bit if you need some help linking up to your slide. Other than that, thank you, Mr. Winhoff. Again, I know it's getting late in Germany, so appreciate it. Your presentation was fantastic, and thank you for answering the questions.
Thank you for being with you.
Have a great night. Good night to Morocco as well, and have a good rest of the afternoon in the US. And we'll be around for a little bit longer if you need any help with your slide deck, okay? Thanks again.